Question of the morning. The Hornets beat the Jazz by 55 points, the worst loss since moving to Utah. How much more can you take? Leroy says the top 3 pick and all is forgiven.
Depending on how that top 3 player plays, which would be years to come to figure that one out, obviously, even if you get, no matter who you get, you're obviously going to get an extremely young player. And I don't think DeBonza is a guaranteed lock, great NBA player. I don't know that I could go there. And that's nothing against him. It's just that being so young.
Yeah, it's a big thing to say this early.
There's just been so few guys in the history of the sport. If you didn't think Kobe Bryant was going to be all that, or if you didn't know is more the appropriate phrase, then I wouldn't slap that label on any, whether it's the Kansas kid or Carlos's son or AJ. I am not going to go along those directions. Now, there's some guys that I think we had a really good chance. LeBron. My guess is if Lou Alcindor in another era had come out after 1 year of college ball, we probably would have thought, okay. But you're talking about the supreme elites of the game. And the rest of the 99.9% needs some time. But in the interim, if they got one of those picks, especially if they got number 1, then certainly you would say in the short term, all is forgiven. Because that's the purpose. That's the point of this season. They are tanking. No matter what Austin Ainge said in that great statement that he made, we're not going to be doing that. Well, yes, you are. You've already done it.
Multiple times.
There was a game, Denver, a few weeks back, where Markkanen played because they knew they were going to lose. Now, if they play Denver with their injury situation, they might think again. It's clear. If they're going up against a team where they think they've got an opportunity to win, not every one of them, because you don't need every one of them. You just need enough of them. And so they didn't need to sit Markkanen against the Mavericks and the Hornets. They just needed one of them.
Yeah, it's interesting if they'd lost to the Mavericks, would they have still sat him against the Hornets? And my guess is yes. They would have because 2-game swing, the Hornets were a 13-win team.
If he played against the Mavs, yeah.
A more valuable loss, if such thing exists.
I think if I were them, I would try to tell them to sit guys during the week because I couldn't imagine paying tickets for that game. That was awful.
People actually commented on that, yeah. Jeff. If I had been there, I would have left after the first quarter when it was 45-14.
Yeah. I mean, that's just awful. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but they sucked.
The suckiest bunch of sucks who've ever sucked, to quote Homer Simpson?
I never watched The Simpsons, but as far as that night, that's a non-competitive game. I want moral victories. And they're capable if they've
done them.
But they're not going to play Markkanen, and he seems to be just fine going into his 8th year, having never played a playoff game. You don't hear him say a peep out of it, maybe behind the scenes, but nothing publicly. And he buys into their plan, is what he says. And it should help him on the back end because he certainly doesn't carry a heavy load now. He's not a grinder. That's for sure. And maybe he wants to be, but they won't let him. But the fact is, he's not a grinder. Whatever the reasons are, he's not one of these dudes that you can count on for 82.
I've seen teams suck before, but they were the suckiest bunch of sucks that ever sucked.
In Utah Jazz history.
Yeah, I don't see...
But the New Orleans Jazz lost by 56. How about that?
I'm not sure that's a controversial statement, that they sucked. If that's a controversial statement, then 85% of the stuff that I say is, which is not true. Maybe 25% at best of the stuff that I say is controversial. They sucked.
Philip says tank on. Just one more season, people. He still has patience.
Well, I don't think that's true in terms of what is he saying one more season? Because now this week is the halfway point. So is he including next season when he says one more season? Or is he just saying this season as a whole?
I believe he's saying this season as a whole, but he doesn't specifically spell it out, but that's how I took it.
Well, we're halfway through. The 41st game is this weekend. And that's obviously the halfway through point of the season. So, yeah, do that. I mean, you're in position to keep the pick now, so go ahead and do it. Don't turn on the Jets and win a bunch of games. And I think they anticipate losing both games to Dallas, although Dallas is not a good team. They have a 2-game swing with Dallas here coming up, where it's both in Dallas. So they sit there for about 48
Dallas,
hours or 72 hours, whatever it might be.
Yep.
So they have this opportunity to do that. Really, they need to go into the All-Star break on a real down note in terms of winning. And then Will Hardy can spin it as he sees fit.
Pile up some L's.
Yeah.
Work on that lottery position. Get from the 6th worst record to the 5th worst record.
Because
your odds of sliding out of the 8th.
only guy, and you know way more about the sport than I do, I would be the first to admit it. You believe the only guy with any long-term hope was Keontae George, who played on Saturday.
Everybody else is wait and see, or they've given up, or they're role guys. I don't think they think anyone else can be a star. Well, Ace Bailey could be, but he didn't play Saturday.
Did not play Saturday.
Yeah, he was at DNP before the game. He's been out with his hip.
So now you've changed from no hope to wait and see hope for Williams and Hendricks, which is your prerogative.
I would say there's no expectation for them, but there's still hope.
I don't understand the difference.
Well, I think
Explain
people
that.
expect Keontae to be good going
Oh,
forward.
no, okay. Well, I'm talking about Hendricks and Williams.
I don't think people expect those two to be good. Fans. I don't think fans expect those two. I don't think you show up to that game thinking, well, those two guys are going to step up and it's going to be okay.
Rather than the fans, what do you think? I don't really give a crap what the fans think. What do you think?
I think that in the case of Hendricks, he is so big, so long, and it's really his second year because he missed a year. He can be a rotation guy. Old school, you know who he reminds me of?
No.
Is Orlando Woolridge, who played for the Lakers when you were over there covering them for the Breeze. Athletic, but not a super skilled, refined game.
So a back end of the rotation?
Yeah. Because he's long, he defends, he plays hard. But I don't see where he's ever going to score it enough that he's going to be one of your guys, one of your big guys that you can count on.
So not a starter in this league.
No, and if he is a starter, he's in the Brian Russell role of you're the fifth guy, and if he is a starter, he gets to the point where he can do what Brian Russell could do, like, hey, I can hit shots when my feet are set, but I'm not the guy and I'm not creating anything. But I'm out here to take the toughest defensive assignment on the perimeter. That, to me, is top shelf of what he could be.
How about Williams?
Right now, he's super athletic, but, man, he is just miles and miles and miles away. Maybe that athleticism can turn into something, but it just seems like he is miles away. They're still in the first 3 years, so, okay. I mean, he is better than last year. I'll give him that, but I don't see much there. And probably his top, although he's further away from it than Hendricks because he's still so slight, is defensive guy. A guy like that with that kind of talent, when the Jazz were in their heyday and their bench was loaded, to put him up there where you're like, hey, you guys are going to go out there and you're going to defend. You're going to be in every pass lane. You're going to try and speed the game up and just run and run and run. Maybe he'd fit in that kind of scenario. But he's just, the threes are Derek Favorish. I mean, they are just so far away. And I know there's other NBA players who've gone away in the offseason, shot 10,000 of them, come back and been good. But those stories seem to be the outliers. It could happen, but you're going to sit around and bet on that? I don't get it. So it's too young to say 100%, I'm 100% out, but 90, 95% out? Yeah.
Wow, so you only give those guys a 5 to 10% chance to be anything in the league. Then this top 3 pick.
They need to hit.
In terms of, but I don't know that that's going to matter in terms of winning and losing next year.
With Markkanen, Well, Nurkic will be gone. They'll have to get another big. With a serviceable big setting screens and getting rebounds, assuming Nurkic is gone, can they get to 500 next year?
I would say no way.
The thing that can get them there is that there's a lot of bad teams, and it's why they're doing what they're doing now. But the thing is getting to what, and this is the part I can't see. I just don't get this at all right now, unless Ace Bailey blossoms and is transformative, and whoever they land is massive, or Ainge makes some big deal. But you can get to 500 now. You are still a long way for competing for anything in May or June. There isn't enough bad teams. I think if this team were all in on winning, they'd win 30 games. Add another guy, add a veteran, develop some young guys, you could get to 40.
Well, that isn't this team then.
This team's going to have to evolve. I mean, I don't think they're taking this group of guys and just moving forward.
They never do.
I know.
So it wouldn't
exactly.
start now.
So that's why I say it doesn't have to be this team. There have to be some guys on this team, and a bunch of other guys are obviously going to come and go.
But you're asking me, can this team be 500 next year? Flat out, absolutely not. No way in Hades. Not a chance. Zero. I'll say it. Yeah.
Even with moves in the offseason?
No.
Okay.
This team is not with moves, because then it's not this team.
Okay. Well, this team isn't going to be this team in another year. I mean, I think moves are coming.
I understood, but you asked me if this team could be.
So
you're talking about this franchise can be 500 next year?
Yeah, I'm talking about the Jazz. Obviously, these 15 guys are right. Okay. Well, then that's what I think. The Jazz can be a 500 team next year.
Yeah, but
not
you didn't
these
say
exact
that.
15 guys.
But that's what I was going on. You asked me about this team, and there's no way. And the only thing I said to add onto it is with a top 3 pick. This team with a top 3 pick next year? No. This team with 5 different moves? Yes. And I have no clue what the moves would be.
Nor do I. I just think they're coming. I don't think there's any point.
Well, it's a requirement.
Yeah. I don't think there's any point in standing pat with this group.
Well, obviously,
and
because you got their 2
pat.
highest draft picks outside of Ace Bailey, you give a 5 to 10% chance that they would be a back-end rotation guy. And I have no problem with you saying that. I can see why you would say that.
I feel like the core of these draft picks, the vast majority of these draft picks, are guys who can play in the league for a long time, and they can't, but they're not going to be the top 50 players who move the needle. Doesn't mean you can't play. Doesn't mean you aren't a good player. I mean, to be player 100 or 150 or 200 in the world, it's pretty awesome. They'd blow you away if they showed up in whatever random game you're playing in on a Saturday. But it's the guys who are in the top 50 who determine the winning and the losing.
Fact.
And I just don't see most of these draft picks turning into that. Set Ace Bailey aside because he wasn't even in uniform Saturday night.
Okay.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Steve Cleveland coming up top of the hour. What do you say to a team after a 55-point loss? How do you get them ready for the next one? We'll talk with Steve about that and about the BYU-Utah game. We'll get to that coming up next. Jason Cole's here to talk playoffs at 9.